Hey, I want to talk about panic attacks at work. Panic attacks anywhere are absolutely horrible. Horrible. But when you have a panic attack at work, it is even worse. Because even if you are, somewhat on good terms with people at work and maybe you have a friend or two at work, well, I know for me, I haven't disclosed that I have panic disorder to anybody at work. It's not really something that I'm proud of. And no one can really understand what this means, I don't think, unless you've been through it yourself or you're a medical professional, a psychologist. Because a lot of times doctors don't really understand. But if you're a psychologist, you probably do. Anyways, I have a pretty long story with panic attacks and work, and there's a difference between panic attacks and panic disorder. And I won't get into the whole list here, but to sum that up, a panic attack is something that pretty much everyone at one time has or will experience it. You get the shortness of breath, sweaty palms, feel like you can't breathe. That's a panic attack. But panic disorder is when it happens over a long period of time, and panic disorder is also debilitating because you worry about the next time you're going to have one. So it's like this vicious cycle, and it's just bad. But anyways, what I want to really talk about is having panic attacks at work, and I want to sum up the story that I have here. Sometimes it's just hard to talk about it, and, because when you do, you kind of relive it in a sense. So anyways, the beginning of 2010, I had a good job, a job that I worked at for almost 3 years, and it wasn't the best job, but the job was fine. I could do it, and I actually was doing very well at work. I was in somewhat of a leadership role, and I could have probably moved up, and if I really tried, and if I was still there to this day, who knows, I may be a manager in training or have a raise or something. But I'm stuck in a position now that I'm not proud. I'm not proud of myself. I'm not proud of who I am right now. But okay, to sum up the story, the beginning of 2010, I was working at this job, and I was suffering from panic disorder. I always suffered from anxiety, as long as I can remember. But that's the key word, anxiety. I had anxiety about things, but it wasn't full-blown panic disorder. I believe that I got panic disorder, I would say, in the summer of 2009. And from the summer of 2009 till early 2010, I was working. And I somehow managed to, bring myself into work every day and try to manage to get, throughout the day. However, I left work early so many days, I couldn't even tell you. Almost every single day I would leave work early because of this panic that nobody understands. But I think that in the summer of 2010, it started to get bad for me. But I had a friend, my best friend to be exact, and I know that he really didn't know too much about it, but he helped me in ways that he had no idea, because to me he was someone safe. He was somebody that I cared about, that cared about me, and, I trusted him. So if something happened to me at work, he was there. And I remember one time I actually started freaking out like something was wrong with me, and I went over to him and I said, "Oh my God, I think I have to go to the hospital." And he kind of looked at me like I was crazy, and it wasn't up until that point that I never realized that he didn't understand. I never really talked to him about this because you're embarrassed. It's not something that you're proud of, really. So he kind of looked at me like I was crazy, and unfortunately, him and I grew apart. He stopped talking to me, and as the months went on, and then I had no one at work to trust, to talk to confide in. So even though that wasn't the cause of my panic, it made it worse for me because I didn't have anybody that I could confide in and talk to. So I still kept going to work, and at the beginning of 2010, it just got so bad. I started seeing a psychologist, and I really do believe that she was starting to help me, but I was just in such bad shape. I couldn't bring myself into work anymore. I did end up getting FMLA through work for a very, very short period of time, and I don't think my work knew what really was going on with me. I don't think they understood panic disorder. I feel like I had to fight to get it. I got denied once, and then I had to appeal it. You know, I mean, I don't think people understand, especially the people, FMLA people, I really don't know how that works, that when you have panic disorder, you're not in a good place to begin with. Then to have to fight to get time off of work. You know, I didn't want time off of work. I needed to get paid. In FMLA, you do not get paid when you have this time off work. So I wanted money, but I couldn't. I could not do it, and I don't think they understood. And anyways, I had it for like a really, really short period of time. There were so many conditions on the FMLA. You know, my boss, I had tried talking to her a little bit about it, but she didn't really understand, and just told me to kind of calm down, relax, you know. And that's another thing whenever you are someone that has panic disorder or having a panic attack. Saying calm down does not help somebody. People need to realize that you need to work on yourself all the time, every day. You know, yes, the times that you're having a panic attack, you need to work on it. You need to calm yourself down. But by somebody saying calm down, that doesn't help. Plus, you need to work on your panic disorder when you are not currently having a panic attack. And the people that have panic disorder know exactly what I'm saying here. You know, the times that you're okay or your anxiety level is very low, you need to read that self-help book or you know, go to your psychologist or whatever your regimen is or whatever your doctor prescribed. You need to work on it all the time. This isn't just I can go to a psychologist once a week and get better. No, it doesn't work that way. So anyways, it ended up getting really bad at that job I was working at. I felt like I had no one to trust. No one supported me. My friends weren't living very close to me. So I ended up moving several states away, very, very far away, to be with this person who is now my boyfriend. And I'm so happy that I did that. But I kind of gave up my life, you know, where I was, because I felt like no one cared about me. So in a sense, I felt like I didn't even really have a good life where I was. So I know it sounds crazy, but I got on a plane, which I am so scared of, but I was more scared of living the way that I was living and not having any support that, it was so bad on the plane too. I was so scared because I had to take 2 planes. It was so scary, but the thought of living the way that I was living, and that I still kind of am living better than before, I think, but it just frightens me so much that I did it. And I got on that plane, and I ended up living with him, and it was great. And I feel like it helped me in a sense because I knew that I had somebody with me. But in my mind, I still have the panic disorder, but I have somebody that supports me now, which just made it seem better. So I ended up getting a job where I was working down with him, you know, states and states away from where I always lived. And in my head, it was okay to work there, and I worked there for only about a month, a little less than a month. But I did it, and there was a hospital right next door. So, in my head, working where I worked, it was okay, because if something happened to me, you know, I could just walk next door, and there was the hospital, and I was fine. So anyways, it didn't end up working out where I was living with him. But we were still together, so me and him ended up moving far away from there. And we actually work together now, and I'm thankful that we have the opportunity to do this. However, it's not something that, you know, we went to school for. It's not in our fields. We just kind of do it because, you know, it's like the first thing that we got, and we're hoping that it's just temporary. So I work with him, and he's my safety, so I can work because he's there. And sometimes, you know, we work in a very big building. We don't always work in the same department. And my work has no idea that I have panic disorder. You know, what am I going to do? Apply and put like in the comments, oh, I have panic disorder, hire me. You think I'm crazy. You feel like everyone thinks you're crazy. Anyways, my work has no idea I have panic disorder. When they move him to another department, I kind of get anxiety about it, but I don't go into full-blown panic attack mode. So anyways, one time I was having lunch by myself, and he was there, but he wasn't, you know, right next to me, and I ended up having a full-blown panic attack. It was horrible. Ended up going into the work medical/management office, which is not medical at all. No one in there is medically trained. It's just kind of like this place you go, I guess, if you get hurt, sick, whatever. Everyone looked at me like I was crazy. Like, what is wrong with you? I tried to explain to them that I have, like, you know, heart palpitations, but I do suffer from panic disorder. They just looked at me like, well, why are you in here? You're, you know, what's wrong, you know? And the one guy even said to me, well, we'll allow you to go back to work if you're not going to hurt yourself or someone else. And I just looked at him like, what are you talking about? I do not want to hurt myself. I don't want to hurt anybody else. But I think he heard the word attack and panic attack, and people being uneducated, he just assumed that I wanted to attack someone or myself. I don't know. Anyways, it's very frustrating to have to keep going through this over and over. So to make a long story short, I went down where my boyfriend was after almost an hour of just freaking out, and I was okay to work the rest of the day. But I had that anxiety, like that feeling inside. It was horrible. So when I say I was okay, I was literally barely okay, but I worked the rest of the day. And I worked a couple days after that, and since my boyfriend and I have been on unemployment because there's no work for us due to the holiday. So now it's been a little less than a month, and we are supposed to go back to work next week. And I am so scared to go back because what if I have a panic attack there again? And no one understands that. If I call my boss and tell her that I have panic disorder, she's going to think I'm nuts. She's not going to say or do anything. And I feel so lost. I feel like I am stuck. I can't get help because I can't afford health insurance. Now I feel like I can't work. And if you're not working, how are you going to get medical help? You know, I feel like I was on the right track, and I know a little bit as to how to help myself, but I need a lot more. And now I feel stuck. And I was just wondering if anybody else has experience with this or has any suggestions for me, because it seems like nobody understands. It really, really hurts.